Mei's parents' bodies start moving and strangle Shiki. Kia tries to help but gets surrounded and grabbed by other corpses. The Oni base is getting attacked by all the Oni zombies. Mei cries, begging her mom to stop, but it's no use. This whole thing escalated into a zombie movie. Man, how crazy is that? Shiki has a gun loaded with bullets made from his blood and needs to use it to take out Mei's mom. But before that, he tells the girl to close her eyes so she doesn't have to watch something so horrible. Shiki does what he has to do and then helps Kia with the other zombies. Nato, on his mission, tells the randoms to return to base. He's got a bad feeling that everyone there is screwed. However, Tsubakuri doesn't allow it and tells Yomogi to deal with them. Melons 2.0 uses her black bacteria and creates a cube around Nato and his group, trapping them. While they're trapped, Tsubakuri will invade the Oni base, following the location of the trackers he put on the corpses. The chaos at the base is resolved and they're at peace for now. But the damage to little Mei's psyche will stay with her for the rest of her life. Kia apologizes for her having to go through that, and Shiki also asks for forgiveness for what he did to her mom. Mei says they don't need to apologize and says she never went to school and always lived hiding and running with her mom and dad, always making do. Mei thought this tragedy would happen one day and tells Shiki not to worry. The boy is devastated by the child's words. The Momotaro were so cruel that a child can't even cry and grieve anymore. Shiki, as a kid, always admired the heroes on TV, but the Momotaro are nothing like that. If they are the heroes, Shiki is more than happy to be the villain of this story. So he hugs Mei and swears he will make this world a place where she can smile and promises that everything will be okay. Tsubakuri calls his allies and is near the base. Cause he took out the old lady from the shop and they found the underground entrance. Plus he asks for a special delivery for the fight. He asks which Oni they mentioned in the captain's meeting and asks for the data on him. Yomogi calls Tsubakuri and says the place seems pretty big and might have many Oni inside. She suggests using poison gas. Tsubakuri gets a message and makes a weird happy face. He says he needs to know the name of every Oni before taking them out, cause he needs the Oni called Shiki Ichinos alive. Yomogi wants to know what's so special about this Oni. Tsubakuri just says he's special and wants to experiment on him. Kia, out of nowhere, gets stabbed by Tsubakuri. The guy arrives super stealthily. Good thing it wasn't a vital spot. Jin already activates his blood saws and gets ready to fight and finish the enemy for good. But Yomogi arrives from behind and almost catches his neck with the black cube. Good thing Kia managed to pull him and only his arm got wrecked. Kia tells Jin to leave and asks for all patients to be evacuated while he stays to fight. Yomogi uses her bacteria and creates another barrier that surrounds almost the entire underground. Kia is now screwed cause reinforcements won't arrive to back him up. Right as he's facing two super dangerous Momotaro, he's already accepted his fate here. Tsubakuri wants to know where Shiki is, but then Kia grabs a syringe with aconite, a poison that causes breathing difficulty and organ failure. Having said that, Tsubakuri quickly cuts Kyoya's neck with a scalpel and the head nurse drops hard on the floor. Tsubakuri wants to use him as his corpse, but remembers his uglies arrived for the invasion and brought his delivery to Tsubakuri, and Yomogi set out to exterminate the Oni. The group splits up and Kuina wants to change out of her nurse clothes cause she can't move well in them, while Rakuro's heart is super racing and he's lounging around like a sloth. This guy better show up. Man, he's an Oni. He gotta fight. Dude. Kuina goes to change and tells Rakuro not to peek, and the outfit she puts on is almost like sporty lingerie. Now the waifu is ready to wreck the enemy, but Rakuro wouldn't even dream of fighting. Just thinking he might get sick makes the dude freak out. He asks Kuina for help, and then she gets all excited about him wanting help. Kuina tells Rakuro to hide in the closet and makes a sly face, saying he can leave everything to her. My friend, this author just doesn't draw hentai, because he doesn't want to. An ugly appears and starts fighting Kuina, who unleashes her power. Some crazy blood gloves. Shiki and Mei hide near the lake, and Rakuro is going crazy and notices it got suddenly silent. He thinks it was all an illusion and he just fainted, but when he leaves, he sees there's an ugly in front of him. The thing gets up and goes to Kuina, like a pet. Having said that, she punches him in the face and does a Street Fighter combo. She doesn't stop beating the thing, even leaving Rakuro shaking in fear. Kuina's ability is I love. The enemy that touches her blood becomes captivated by her and gradually loses the will to fight, until they become vegetative. The waifu is not only beautiful but also crazy and strong. Those who know her describe her as reliable. Like an older sister, the girl is very popular, but her best friends say that Kuina actually takes care of others too much. To a sick degree, she even brushes the men's teeth. Many guys became useless cause they couldn't go out to work, because Kuina's jealousy would kick in and she'd say she'd earn the household money. So the guy didn't need to do anything outside. I want that sugar mommy for myself, and you, my dude, you in. Rakuro thanks her for the help, and a super happy Kuina puts a mattress on the floor for Rakuro to lie down and relax. When a lazy guy who does nothing makes Kuina feel needed, that's when Kuina starts getting fired up down there. Meanwhile, the uglies are out there killing the Oni. Kuina gets up and says she prepares some food for Rikuro. The guy doesn't get it and thinks she'll use him when danger approaches. Another ugly appears and Kuina is ready to throw down. Kuina takes a hit on the arm from the ugly. Seems like against this one, it won't be easy. She gets caught and is trapped by its long arms and thrown against the ceiling, the wall, everywhere. The enemy starts stomping on Kuina's face, not giving her a chance to rest. Kuina gets full of bruises and is immobilized. Rikuro is in shock and says she needs help. Someone has to help. I'm telling you, you fool, you help her. Come on, my friend, hurry up. Cut to Rikuro's past. In a village where Rikuro had his first love, Lulu. He did all sorts of things with great courage to impress her. In front of Lulu, Rikuro was a different person. He felt invincible. He was born in a small countryside town where Onis lived in peace with humans. Rikuro loved dancing with Lulu. He remembers clearly their rehearsals at sunset. On the day of a festival, Lulu started feeling sick. Later, it got worse. Lulu's illness was due to her horns appearing because Oni blood changes when they awaken. The only Oni doctor in town was the one doing her treatments. However, one day the Momotaro appeared and attacked the Oni. The doctor got taken out. Rikuro saved himself with Lulu. She kept getting worse, and Rikuro said he'd go to the nearest city to find another doctor and promised he'd help her. But Lulu didn't make it. Since that day, depression and anxiety consumed Rikuro, and he even got white hair because of it. With that, Rikuro became the fearful and cowardly guy he is today. But he has to fight and remembers Lulu's words. Rikuro saves Kuina's life and says he can't disappoint and tarnish Lulu's memories anymore. He wants to keep being someone amazing so when he meets Lulu again in the afterlife, he can face her with pride. Even scared Rikuro activates his ability and summons a blood Lulu and asks for her help. Having said that, Rikuro's confidence returns, and the guy transforms into a true artist and his personality completely changes. Rikuro's blood, cherry blossom dance, shreds the ugly. In Rikuro's stormy dance, he transforms his blood into cutting petals while attacking with wind blades. Lulu's spirit guides him so. Rikuro does his best performance. He was always actually scared, but that didn't stop him from fighting and now he got that trait back. Rikuro then wins the fight against the ugly in the most beautiful dance pose. Shiki tells Mei to keep hiding and when she feels the will to live, she has to yell loudly to him, "Good luck, Shiki." Nato wakes up from the explosion Yomogi made to stop him from returning to the Oni base. So he needs to hurry and go to the Iru Deidara temple. Shiki finds Tsubakiri, and when he finds out who he is, the guy gets all excited. But Shiki is outraged at how sick Tsubakiri is for ruining the Oni's lives. But for these Momono-anos don't have any right to be considered people. Jin will have to face Yomogi who arrives saying, the nurse Oni is already done for. The waifu versus the bloodsaws dude, who wins? Place your bets. Yomogi defends herself with her barrier. Shiki creates his blood rifle and wants to dethrone Tsubakiri, so he shoots a bunch at him and explodes the area in a pretty big range. Tsubakiri dodged the shot and Shiki taunts him saying he's scared. Tsubakiri opens his delivery and it's a Momotaro corpse that's full of hatred to eliminate the Oni. Shiki doesn't understand how he could do that to his own comrade. Then Tsubakiri says Shiki is very stupid to think that his ruler will be everyone's. It's like the people who protest in the middle of a pandemic saying it's just a little flu. Man, I swear, this line came from the anime villain. You know what I thought and what you thought too. That damn Bolsonaro talking crap. The puppet uses its gravity power and weighs down Shiki's body, who slowly starts falling. Tsubakiri is so OP that besides using a corpse, he can also control the power the person had in life. In this case, this Momotaro uses his black bacteria in the air and increases the weight of the molecules in the environment. Nato needs to enter the base, which is surrounded by Yomogi's barrier. But if he uses his power, he'll end up collapsing the place and the civilians visiting the Iru Deidara temple will fall and get taken out to. Juji arrives and informs the professor what's going on at the location. All the injured fled to the surface, but some students and some from the support group still need help. Having said that, Homeri appears again, and Juji shows his perverted side and says he wants to lose his virginity to Homeri. What a weird guy. My lord, Nato has a plan to evacuate the tourists from the temple. Just use Homer as Blood Titan power to cause an earthquake and thus evacuate everyone. With a landslide, the Oni agents will guide all civilians out of the Iru Deidara temple. Homari hesitates for a moment, but wants to be useful like her colleagues and accepts. The blood giant has no control and attacks Nato without hesitation. People feel the earthquake and the landslide, so they start fleeing. Now the temple is empty, since Juji checked everything with his powers. Nato then knocks out Homari to make the giant disappear. Yomogi puts Jin in a tiny cube, crushing him inside. but for him it was nothing, because he slept a lot in ventilation ducts when he was little. Then appears Akari, who slams an ugly's head on the ground and says that was nothing. He felt offended for facing such a weak enemy. Now he wants to hit stronger people. But when he looks at Yomogi's unrevealing clothes, Akari goes crazy and yells at her to be ashamed and wear something decent. The dude is crazy angry and uses his ability, some crazy blood boots, and kicks Yomogi in the chin. His power is based on anger, which makes him create various different things that not even Akari knows what will come. The attack power varies according to his anger level and can only be used 3 times a day. Seems like Yomogi has a bad matchup against fast opponents. Having said that, Nato uses his power to break the barrier. Although he contained the power, the branch will collapse soon. Nato tells his men to save the Oni colleagues. That's the priority. Shiki is having a hard time against Tsubakiri and his puppet, who uses a new power, making the oxygen in the place 100 times heavier. The guy makes a huge Hadoken and launches it at Shiki, who has his body broken inside. Tsubakiri is finding everything very lame. Thought it would be more challenging since Shiki is a son of Kishin, starting to think that information is a lie. He says Kishin was the name given to the strongest Oni in history, and Oni General Samidare returns to the Momotaro base and meets a new transfer. Hina Momoda, Vice Captain General of the General Headquarters, who is eager to work with someone as experienced as Samidare. He says there's no need to flatter him, but Hina isn't doing that. Samidare prefers to do things alone, but Hina says protocol is for them to go in pairs. Later, Hina wants to ask about what a Kishin is, more exactly about the sons of Kishin. Samidare says when the Oni are on the brink of collapse, a Kishin is always born, and he impregnated several women to pass on his powerful genes. Hina says if that were the case, the children of the sons of Kishin would be everywhere by now. That's why Samidare says only some inherit Kishin's genes. A son of Kishin is only born when the Momotaro are near extinction. Then a new Momotaro appears. Squad Captain Shinya Momowa, who is very stressed and scares the rookie. Hina saying the war doesn't end because of a Kishin, who always appears when the Oni are almost extinct. And so they learn to live among humans. The Momotaro need to obey the Momotaro politicians so they don't reveal this millennia-old war to civilians. The excuse is to protect people. But the truth is, the politicians order the Momotaro to make medicine based on Oni blood. So when they are at risk, they are the first to be saved. Shiki is feeling sick against Tsubakiri and tells Ma not to cry because of the Momotaro's cruel words, who revealed all the evil he did to the girl's parents, telling them while they were alive that he would torture and end their lives, and that kneeling to him begging to leave their daughter alone wouldn't do any good. Shiki understands the pain of losing someone you love, and for that he cries and sympathizes with Mei's pain at this moment. Since Tsubakiri doesn't understand that, he and the Momotaro are the real demons. The blonde jerk keeps increasing the gravity to make Shiki kick the bucket for good. But Shiki, to protect Mei, summons great flames in the area. With that, the narrator explains that each son of Kishin awakens an elemental attribute, which are fire, water, lightning, earth, wind, ice, darkness, and light. Each son of Kishin inherits one of these elements, and Shiki is the Kishin of fire. Enki Shiki awakened over 100 aura, and Tsubakiri was totally scared. *, seeing the protagonist with a new little power. Shiki shoots with his flames and gives him a scare, but his body hurts and he can't control his flames, since he's very injured and lost a lot of blood. So much so that he returns to base form with the gravity power of Tsubakiri's puppet, who continues to insult and humiliate Mei's parents, saying he will end her the same way he did her parents. Shiki yells that Onis don't deserve that and can be happy. Mei can live peacefully and have a happy life. These words remind her of her father, and Mei cries non-stop. Having said that, Tsubakiri invokes his most powerful gravity attack and Shiki his blood weapon, saying Mei has permission to be happy and that he will always cheer for her. Mei remembers her parents said she would meet someone who would cheer for her happiness and yells good luck to Shiki from the bottom of her heart, as she promised before. Shiki awakens Anki again and destroys Tsubakiri's gravitational attack and his puppet. He can't believe what he sees. Mei keeps cheering for Shiki, and he blasts his bazooka in Tsubakiri's face, who even turned into manga and was dragged away. I hope Shiki heard Mei's voice well and says it reached his heart. So beautiful. Man, Shiki is a sweetheart. The guy will be an older brother, and Mei will now become very attached to him. To my sadness, the *Tai Tsubakiri didn't kick the bucket and regrets underestimating Shiki's power. That's right, partner, never doubt the protagonist. He crawls to Manaka's body, an old friend of the Momotaro. Then Tsubakiri's story is revealed. He was part of the Momotaro science team because he had no interest in killing Oni. But after spending so much time dissecting Oni corpses, he became indifferent. And one day he met Manaka, a Momotaro captain. Tsubakiri hated him and refused to work for him. However, he was transferred to his squad and there was nothing he could do. Manaka was a warm person who respected his subordinates. Everyone trusted him a lot. Manaka had so much compassion that he prayed after eliminating an Oni for them to rest in peace. Something Tsubakuri never understood. Since he was little, he felt he had no more empathy for things. Not even a flame of vengeance ignited in him when his parents were killed by an Oni. Tsubakuri even felt light and relieved for not having anyone else to care about. That's because his parents didn't spend much time with him, due to their duty with the One day Manaka took Tsubakuri to his house and introduced his wife and daughter. From then on, the scientists always ate with them. Since then, Tsubakuri felt his life started to get confusing with all these family emotions that Manaka presented to him. But the good thing is that food started to have taste again. Tsubakuri asked why Manaka built a family having the job he has. He said it was for them that he had the strength to return alive. Manaka was such a bro that he even told Tsubakuri to stop smoking. But of course, he didn't accept the advice. One day, cruel reality hit. On a mission, Manaka entered a house that was found to have Ones as residents. Having said that, he spotted a child Oni that reminded him of his daughter. With his hesitation, the child fled. But outside, the child went into a frenzy and took out several civilians. To Manaka's misfortune, his daughter and wife went out that day to go shopping and were killed by the child Oni. Manaka managed to eliminate the Oni, but was seriously injured in the process and in his last moments of life told Tsubaki that he shouldn't have had compassion for the enemy. If he were crueler, many people, including his wife and daughter, would be alive. Then Manaka told Tsubakuri to use his body and continue the mission of eliminating every Oni that appears. Tsubakuri granted the request and quickly rose to the rank of captain. In the present, Tsubakuri still has the desire to win and doesn't believe it can be the end. He wants to end his friend's remorse. But then Manaka's corpse was already done for due to the fire. Shiki won and has to take Mei somewhere safe, but faints from lack of blood and serious injuries. Mudano can't take out Yomogi, who protected herself inside a barrier. But the priority now is rescuing the Oni comrades. Arriving there, Jin sees that Kia survived and is with Shiki. Kia, by drinking his own blood, which has healing properties, managed to regenerate, and he says the rest of the crew is preparing to flee. Mudano asks a nearly dead Tsubakuri what he thought of Shiki's Kishin power, and he answers it was terrifying. But it seems the boy used his own life as fuel. The Oni flee the temple, and Yomogi later appears and finds Tsubakuri dead. With a shocked face, she says he can't end like this, because his daughter was just born. Tsubakuri never knew how to say why he wanted a family, but surely the life Manaka had influenced him. He even stopped smoking, out of respect for the memory and words of his great friend, and thus lived as a true Momotaro until the end. Tsubakuri Momamiya was killed in combat at 31 years old. Shiki wakes up in the middle of the night at an Onion and thinks about everything his colleagues suffered. And Mudano says even with the casualties they had, they must be thankful for waking up to another day of Sun Shiki. And the group say goodbye and are returning home. Mei now smiling thanks to Pradag and says see you later to Shiki at the Arasetsu Academy. Mudano explains that after the class graduates, they must choose between the combat, support, or exploration group. But there are more specific teams to see later. In the class, there are only eccentric people, and Mudano says they need to form pairs to stay in the dorms. Whoever is left will sleep in the same room as Mudano, which the group wants to avoid at all costs. The waifu Kuina says she will stay with Rikuro and do everything for him, from waking him up to eat, giving him a bath, and even having sex 3 times a day. Dude, this Rikuro is too lucky, insane. He won the lottery, but will have to have the energy of a horse to handle this woman 3 times a day. Having said that, Mudano says they can't have mixed genders in the dorms. Here he crushed Kuina's desire, who will complain to the teacher. The nerds Shiki and Juji were very jealous of bunch of weird nerds. Cut to Shinya Momoiwa, who wants to take out Shiki to rise in the organization's ranks, and maybe even steal Sumidare's position, who let Shiki escape. Shinya sets out with his partner to hunt Shiki. My dude, this past of Tsubakuri with Manaka made me understand the character more. But he's still a jerk and kicked the bucket, thankfully. Comment below what you thought of these Tougen Anki eps and leave your like and subscription to strengthen and so no Momotaro gets you. Activate the bell and check the cards for more questionable or not so questionable Thanks for the constant support and peace out.